Guys, so I just got to the car here, and yeah, I'm not going to take it. Will I lose my deposit? I don't know. I'll find out. Did you put the ramps down? Okay, good. It's just not worth the money. Somebody has done a big frame rail repair on it. So my assumption where I saw some of that black was right. So Brutal recently put out a video, and if you're not following his YouTube channel, make sure you do. It's one of my personal favorites. And he was talking about if you are thinking about purchasing a Fox body, that now is the time to act, that they have only risen in value, and although sometimes they've gone up and then come back down, that they never go back down to where that lowest sweet spot was when you could pick up a Fox body for under $5,000. Now, the market up here in Canada is a little bit different just because we have different currency, depending on what the values are, different supply and demand, and a couple of other factors. But now things have pretty much normalized. And the fact is the cars are getting more and more rare, and they're harder to find really, really clean. So whether it's an American car or a Canadian car, it really doesn't matter where they come from. If you're looking for a Fox body, you're going to look in all the possible places where they are for sale. And as mentioned in Brutal's video, as well as my buying a Fox body in 2020 video, you know, Foxes have an international presence now. So everyone around the world knows them, knows about them, and a lot of people want them. So this pool of Fox bodies that have always been here in North America, well, sometimes those really clean ones are going overseas, much like the 1993 black coupe that I did last year. That one ended up going to Kuwait. So this car came up through the individual that I actually traded the red 93 turbo car for his 90 GT with some other stuff, of course. And he reached out to me because we stay in touch. Super cool guy. And he was like, man, there's this coupe, check it out, good price. And it was on Facebook Marketplace, so I jumped on it as quickly as I could. And that's for a number of reasons. Number one being that anything that's on Facebook Marketplace now, everyone is seeing, and everyone has the ability to potentially buy out from underneath you. The second reason is I'm about a 2-hour drive from Toronto, give or take with some traffic. It was actually about an hour and a half with COVID and everything else going on, little traffic free, but still. When you got that drive and it's a Sunday afternoon, it's kind of hard to call up your friend and say, hey, we need to grab the truck and trailer and go now. So anyways, I sent the guy $500 deposit. He said he'd keep the car until today for me, and went and checked it out. All right, guys, just got to the spot here. I can see the car. Let's have a look, see if this thing is as clean as advertised. Starts and idles okay. You got to make the trips, guys. Not going to waste too much time here. There's rust in the bottom of the door. The car has been painted where I was told it wasn't painted. It looked really nice in the pictures. I think there's a little bit of rust down there. Look at that door gap. Dent the roof. Cowl's cracked. Adjustable clutch quadrant. You know, someone's painted the intake, painted the valve covers. This is what makes me the most nervous down here. So frame rails have been welded. Clearly she was rotted. Someone did the repairs. Not a horrible repair, but I just don't want a car that's been repaired. So this car definitely is nowhere as clean in person as it was in the pictures. Somebody has cut out the rear quarter lips here. None of the moldings really fit very well. You can see somebody like used silicone or something on the backside here. You got rust on the bottom of the driver and passenger side doors. It does seem pretty clean in the door hinge areas. You know, the interior is reasonably okay. But the car's seen some paint. Trunk lid doesn't match. Tail lights busted, exhaust is hanging down low. And the worst part of all, those frame rails have been all done. The underside of the car's been painted black, so there's probably some corrosion under there. So just not worth it. Not worth it at all. It's too bad. You have to look. You can't pass up these opportunities. And he was really good. He's going to send me my deposit back. He understands, you know, that the car has been repaired more so than I would have liked it to have been. So, like I said, you guys, you can't wait around. If you guys are looking for a Fox, you got to jump on them. And when I'm 2 hours away from the big city of Toronto here, you got to send deposits. You got to act quickly. You got to move quickly if you want to get the deals. So it's unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. So needless to say, I didn't spend very much time looking at the car as I was walking up to it. And you know, you just look, you're looking at the paint, you're looking at the trim, and you can tell if a Fox is really clean or not. And you know, I'd really downplayed the car in my mind before getting there. You know, it's one thing to show up and find an absolutely mint car, but the realities are it'd probably be a decent all-round car and, you know, good value for money, which I was hoping, whether, you know, I clean up a few things and I flip it, or it turns into a build project for somebody. There's a lot of options, but needless to say, for the price, you know, my expectations were reasonable for what the ask was. Now, unfortunately, as soon as I kind of walked up to the car, all of a sudden, I could see different color panels. I could tell that some panels had been obviously resprayed. The black trim, just not in very good shape at all. You know, the passenger side quarter window molding was probably one of the worst I'd ever seen. It was actually going, it was worn away so much, it was going like into where the metal curves in of the rear quarter panel. The interior was fairly clean, but bottoms of the doors, I saw rust, and the door gap in the passenger side door to fender was pretty big. So you could tell there was probably an accident there because there was no VIN tag, or not even a VIN tag that was oversprayed on the passenger side fender. So it had most likely been replaced. Looked like the hood had flown up at some point. And most importantly, the frame rails, although someone looked to have done a pretty good job at repairing them, they were totally repaired and painted over. The whole underside of the car was painted black. And well, it's just not the type of car that I wanted to get invested in. I'd rather see a car that is rusty, that is original paint, that has never been touched, than to see a car that is showing a few signs of rust that has been painted, because you really just do not know what is underneath that paint. I'd rather see an engine bay like this, or even the way that this engine bay looked before, you know, all greasy and oily and everything else. I almost rather see that, knowing that it's all original underneath, so that way I know what I'm signing myself up for. As much as I love the look of a smoothed engine bay, I am really starting to shy away from it, because you just do not know what is underneath, especially down in those lower strut tower areas. You don't know how it was repaired, if it was repaired, if it needed to be repaired, and you know, you're potentially taking a gamble with some of these smoothed engine bays. So the other thing that was really unfortunate about the car when I looked at it, somebody had cut the rear quarter lips completely out to accommodate for some drag radials. And I knew they were drag radials because when I got there, he told me, oh, I have an extra set of wheels and tires. And when he showed me the pictures, they were Mickey Thompson drag radials on the back that most likely needed the clearance there to keep them from rubbing. So who's to say that that was the original motor in it? Chances are it probably had a bigger motor. They took that motor out and fixed the frame rails because there's no other way that you can fix them. You got to pull the motor if you want to fix your frame rails. And maybe they just put a stock motor in and tried to clean the car up enough to make it, you know, presentable to be. In this case, it was just traded in. So the moral of the story today is that if you're wanting a Fox body, you got to be prepared to go with your car, with your trailer, whatever it is, be prepared to come home empty-handed, and you need to be prepared to act very, very quickly. You got to be willing to send those deposits. You got to be willing to take a little bit of a risk. The guy didn't have to give me my deposit back today. He was nice enough to do so, which is great because, you know, I'm invested. I have my time, fuel, my friend's time, everything else to have gone and looked at that car. So even though I got my money back, I'm still out some money, but you got to take that risk and you have to have some trust in people. You know, some people's definition of clean might not be the same definition as yours or mine. So we all have different expectations, managing those expectations, knowing what we're looking for. You know, and some people, and I've mentioned it before, you can't just start off by saying, send me a bunch of pictures, this, that, and the next thing. If you make the seller's life more difficult, or there's another buyer who's going to make the transaction potentially easier for them, they're going to go with the easier one. It's like buying a house and, you know, putting a bunch of clauses into your conditional offer. If you're going to put, I'm going to inspect this and I need to get financing approved, et cetera, et cetera. If a guy comes in with a cash offer, that guy's going to get it before you do. So same thing with Foxbodies or any car that you're buying. You want that car, you think you might want it, act quickly and don't miss out. I've been pretty fortunate to score a good amount of Foxbodies in my day, and I'm sure I'm going to score some pretty good deals in the future. You can't win them all, but you need to be willing to act like you're going to win every single time. So that's it, guys. I hope you found this video informative. We'll get back to getting this motor into the 4-cylinder 4-to-8 project. Everything is almost pretty much buttoned up on here. Got some new AC lines and everything else that's required to get it in here. Got the transmission all cleaned up. So I'm just doing some last minute tidying up in that engine bay. Once it's ready, this guy's going in. So thanks again for following along, subscribing, all that other good stuff. We'll see you guys soon.